So how many of you business owners nodded your head, oh yeah, when you saw the title to today's show? The road to success is always under construction. What a great quote from a fabulous comedian, Lily Tomlin, right? And boy, does she nail it for the entrepreneurial adventure. I mean, no 2 days are alike, thank goodness, in my personal opinion. I love that about our adventure. But hey, there are days when you think you've got everything sailing along and you're going, hey, am I the one? I'm amazing, right? Everything's working. And then pothole, detour, product prices rise. I mean, what? Yeah, it's always under construction. So today we're going to be talking about the mindset and the skill set that you and your business need to break through limitations, to handle those tough times, because it really is about your state of mind, and other wonderful pieces of advice to help you and your business get the outcome and success you so richly deserve. Hi, entrepreneurs, and welcome to the Possibility Partners Show. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, your CPO. Yep, that's Chief Possibility Officer. And I'm here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern here on Google Plus Hangouts, sharing Andelicious advice for entrepreneurial adventurers. And these are delicious conversations with seasoned entrepreneurs sharing their best tips, tools, and advice to help you and your business thrive and grow. And wow, I am so honored and thrilled that you're here joining me today and tuning in. I've got waving madly. Hi, live participants. I'm so thrilled you're here. Thank you. And to you replay folks, mwah, 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 mwah. Thank you for watching. I'm truly honored and thrilled. And let's connect on a deeper level. You can always find me at my favorite social media bar. That's right, Twitter. And it's at Ande Lyons. And if you need more tips, tools, and resources, please swing by my website, andelyons.com. And gosh, I'd be so grateful if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, Andelicious Advice. Thank you, thank you. So today, wow, we have a huge shot of entrepreneurial B12 wisdom coming our way from a on fire, highly energetic and vibrant person, the CEO and founder of the 90-Day Entrepreneur. Oh, it's my pleasure to introduce you to a phenomenal entrepreneur, Mr. Brandon Schaefer. Hi, Brandon.
Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Oh, I'm so thrilled you're joining us today. I found you, of course, my favorite bar, Twitter, and just couldn't get enough of the amazing posts that you write and the wonderful advice that you share on an almost daily basis with entrepreneurs everywhere. So before we dive into mindset and skill sets that we need as entrepreneurs, share with folks, how did you become an entrepreneur?
Well, my grandfather was an entrepreneur. My mother is an entrepreneur today with multiple different types of businesses out there. And I just always grew up. I really didn't know any other way except for, my aunts were entrepreneurs, my cousins are entrepreneurs, my brother's an entrepreneur. It's just a lifestyle. It's like a farmer, I guess. You grow up on a farm, you herd sheep or cattle, whatever the heck you do.
And how did you get started, like with your first business? Was it before, like in grade school, or?
No. When I was young, I was like the gopher for my mother's businesses. So I would drive between the stores, pick up money. I don't do that anymore, so don't try to follow me or anything else. So I would kind of do that and fill in when people didn't show up, which is a big problem with small to mid-sized businesses. People don't show up. You invest in hiring and firing and so forth. And so I would just kind of like fill in where needed. And that subsequently gave me a big scope of how to do a bunch of different tasks and how to work like very, very quickly, making important decisions on a as needed basis, not thinking too longly about them, but just going with gut instincts. And that's kind of how I got started.
Wow. And along the way, you learned different techniques and tools and mindsets, which are great. How was it when social media came around? How did you make the shift into this arena?
Oh, man. it's crazy story, but you know, it was just kind of, I kind of get caught up in stuff every once in a while, and it was just something that I felt like, hey, if I wanted to kind of grow a brand out, like sitting in a bricks and mortar store, and I've done that, is sitting in a store waiting for customers to walk into our store while advertising in like a magazine or like a newspaper. It just didn't make any sense to me, or like sending out stuff. So I kind of reverse, like I always reverse engineer things. I look at kind of where I want to be, and then I take steps backward to how to get there. And I wanted to make it more attractive for people to be able to do business with myself and my company. So the best way to do that was through, you know, social media and getting out there and just sharing, you know, kind of like who you are, what you stand for, and so forth along those lines.
Yeah, so what was it then that made you want to give back to entrepreneurs? Because I'm honest to goodness, viewers, Brandon puts out the most amazing posts, almost, it feels like every day. I know it's not every day, but what was it that helped you shift and want to really help entrepreneurs at any stage of their business growth?
Again, it's kind of, my thinking is a little bit crazy, but all the stuff that I do is really, I'm writing for myself. What happens is, because I fall into the category that so many other people, aka entrepreneurs, small business owners, go-getters, type A personalities fall into, that I just share what most people keep private publicly. So that's kind of like my posts are like my public ledger. And it just so happens that people can associate with that, because when I write, I'm not like writing through, I'm not picking through articles or references or citing stuff and going through. I'm just letting it rip. And I know I told you this before, but you know, maximum I take an hour a day and I write an article. And I know an hour might sound like a lot to people, but really I write the article, I proofread it, and I publish it all within probably like 55 minutes. So you know, it's all gut and heart when I'm talking. And if people like it, they like it. I'm sure people associate with it because they all have those feelings, you know, it's kind of that simple.
Now, you do incredible graphics on every post. I just want to take a moment and compliment you on them. Do you create them? Does someone do that for you?
Oh my goodness, no. Again, I mean, everything that I do has to be quick. I have 3 kids. I have a wife, a dog, home, cars, you name it. We've got it. So anything that I do, I need to streamline as fast as humanly possible. And what I do is, that's the graphics. I just go to Unsplash, I think it's called. Unsplash. It's just a graphic.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard of PicMonkey. I use, a lot of folks here on Google Plus use Canva. Unsplash.
Yeah, well, what I do is go to Unsplash and get the actual image. So they just have free, totally 100% free images. And I go there and I just grab an image, and then I pull it into Canva or PicMonkey, and I just have a template set up. So in business, what I tend to do is set up templates for everything that I do, because templates allow me to really hum through things. So like a PowerPoint template, or like when we were talking, you know, you can just change the text on there. So what I do is, the template's already set up. All I do is go in there, cut and paste the title, and then I cut and paste the image, or upload the image, and I publish it. And that's kind of, it sounds crazy, but people compliment me on the image. They're like, oh my goodness. But the main reason, one of the main reasons why I do that is because it shows across all the social channels very, very well. Now there's a science to that, because on Twitter, I can post the same image to Twitter, to Google Plus, to Facebook, and it all shows the text with the majority of the image. I tested all kinds of image sizes, and that's why I do that, because I don't want to make a certain image. Unless I'm going on Pinterest, which is a totally different story, then I would make it a lot longer, like an 1800 by like 2400 or something. But otherwise, it's ready, aim, fire, like consistently.
Well, and part of that consistency is your branding too. And I know that Dre Beltrami, when she watches this, will be giving you a huge round of applause.
Dre, I love Dre.
And so, yeah, that's key as well. And I love too that you're right about the template. The template makes it a lot easier for you to sit down and put out what's going on your heart. Now, Scott has a great question here for you. Hold on. Scott's asking, I would like to hear what you consider to be private that you share to the public, because that's a good question.
I'd like to see, well, basically, I share my heart and my soul and my spirit of business out there. That's what I share. And a lot of people kind of shy back from. I try not to use I so much in my writing. I try to write with the kind of you, which I think may be a mistake in some aspects, but I don't want to write with I because it just seems so close, and it would kind of give away the secret that I'm giving to you now, that all this stuff is near and dear to my heart. But really, that's kind of my life story. Everything that I write is something that, like this experience today that we're having right now, I'll probably write something about Google Hangouts and yourself or whatever. Like that's just kind of
right.
What I do.
And maybe, Scott, you might be referring to some people, sort of like vomiting all sorts of stuff out there that's unnecessary. That's the beauty of Brandon's work, is that if it's a trial, if it's a tribulation that some people wouldn't want to know about, he still puts it out there because it's a growth opportunity for all of us. But it's usually business related or mindset related, right, Brandon?
100%. There's always a business or entrepreneur moral of the story when you read this. It will make you think. And a lot of the stuff, what I say is, if what I write stings you or hurt or you get mad or it kind of hurts your heart a little bit, it's near and dear to your heart and it's close to you, and that's probably something that you need to take action on. So I'm writing on what's stinging me 90% of the time. What stings me during that day, I'm taking everything that I've learned in my life and just writing 500 words about it. That's it. It's just like a diary. It's just like keeping a public diary for me. I mean, I don't know, that probably won't work for somebody else, but for me, it's just like keeping a public diary. Yeah,
and what you also do that's so wonderful is you have the consistent call to action at the end of every one of your posts, right?
Exactly. They're all the same. There's two things. There's a let's talk more at the end. I'm just cutting and pasting that in the bottom. And another thing is, I tend not to use plugins at the bottom of my post, like a bunch of different plugins, like those types of plugins where you go in, you can add like a name and subscribe and stuff like that. I always include a link, and this is my personal preference, because all my stuff goes to LinkedIn to get published on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn doesn't support those plugins and stuff. So again, this is my structure. So I can literally just grab my whole article and then pull it over to LinkedIn and publish it in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
and LinkedIn, a lot. I mean, LinkedIn. I just polled about 100 of the top Entrepreneur magazine contributors, right? And I asked them a lot about LinkedIn, and very few of them are actually active on LinkedIn. So what that tells me is that LinkedIn is still, on the publishing platform, hasn't really even been touched yet. So if you're not on that platform, actively engaging in group, I asked them about groups. If you're not actively engaging in groups, and I'm not talking 50, you can only have 50 groups, but I only recommend like 2 or 3, and ones that aren't spammy and stuff like that. And the same thing on Facebook groups. Just grab 1 or 2 top ones and go with them.
That's great. And do you have a daily motivation, something that you do, a practice every day that you find is so important to keep your entrepreneurial mindset focused and moving forward?
What is it? That would be my main task. I mean, I've got a couple things that I do. I believe in getting in touch with, kind of just staying grounded. Some would say like spirituality, but not in a religious sense in any means by that, but just getting grounded. And one way I stay grounded is by writing about my experiences and getting that stuff out, because who knows? I don't know. I tell my wife about stuff. She doesn't care. I mean, she's got other things going. She's raising 3 kids. She doesn't want to hear about my experiences. So I put my experiences out there. Subsequently, people, if they like it, they like it. They reach out to me. We form relationships, and I form so many like crazy relationships. And a lot of it's business relationships. It forms into business, and.
Right, and I think what you're saying, which is so important, is the just do it and just the consistent. And it works for you to do this, just like for me, the show every week works for me as
Yeah.
far as building relationships and deepening relationships. And a lot of times we put so much effort into the constructing and manipulating and the numbers behind what we're writing. And I don't think that's necessarily why you want to be writing. And I think that's a wonderful practice, Brandon. Thanks for sharing that. And viewers, I got to tell you, I've already got my virtual sleeve rolled up, getting my B12 shot right here from Brandon to fire me up, because every day for me, it really is about taking a moment and celebrating the day and who I am in the world and all that I have and who I will meet that day, and just really raising my vibration. It's so important that we all do that so we don't get stuck in the muck and the mire of our adventures, because that's a given. The muck and the mire is going to be there, just like our human experience is going to have muck and mire, but we have to have the right mindset to get through it. And I'd love for you all who would like to build their credibility and visibility. It's one of the key strategies that I have used to increase and build my own expert status online in many different ways, and that is getting to know people in a deeper and more meaningful level. And the afterglow chat right here at the end of Possibility Partners is a great opportunity for folks to dive into the green room here after I hit end broadcast. You don't have to be dolled up. And we have the most incredible, magical conversations. Not only do we share our stories as entrepreneurs, but we get great advice one-on-one from the coach or the guest that's here for the day. It's wonderful. So I hope you all will make time someday to join us, if not today, in the Afterglow chat. Okay, so Brandon, here you are, the 90-day entrepreneur. What compelled you to start it?
Well, I think everything needs to have a time frame behind it. So I definitely wanted the title and the company name to have a time frame actually in it, because it's so fun. Like, people come with different company names and so forth, and I just wanted to make sure that people knew that I was talking, when they were going to talk to me, that there was going to be a time frame associated with it to do something. Because if you're not setting time frames, if you're not clearly setting your goals, if you're not clearly doing stuff, nothing's going to happen. So the 90-day obviously is, I think that anybody can do anything. And I mean, and I'm not saying anybody can do anything to success within 90 days, but anybody can do anything to failure within 90 days as well. And when you can get into that kind of bubble, I don't want to say bubble, but just that mindset where in 90 days, you're going to flush out whether this is a good idea or a bad idea, right? Because people hold on to that bad idea that they have because they don't get proper testing in the marketplace. They only ask their families. They don't ask like outside people that don't care, haven't met them before, or anything else like that. That is vitally important. So within 90 days, we can figure out like, what's your business plan? Because a lot of times people also, they go to get money. I say, what do you need? And they say, I need money. I say, what do you need money for? They say, oh, I need money for this and that. I said, you don't need money. What you need is sales. You need direct sales. You need an avenue to sell more of your product or service to a highly targeted and highly qualified audience. You don't need more money to buy more servers or computer systems or invest in something else. What you need is sales. Okay, and once they understand that, usually they're taken back and they're like, "Whoa, this guy's totally nuts." You know, he's a crazy guy. But people need people to tell them the truth. It's like the naked emperor. You know, he walks around nude the whole time. Nobody tells him because they're all afraid. Like, that story's not gonna happen with me. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna work with you hand in hand. I'm going to make sure that we figure out whether your product is going to make it or service is going to make it within 90 days, whether to keep building upon it or to bail on that project. There's nothing wrong with pulling the chute on a project. I mean, I know when we talked before, the faster I fail, the faster I get to success, right? And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just the way it is. I don't plan on failing.
Yeah. And a lot of times, Brandon, and this is where you're so helpful too, is some people are just sitting there, do I, don't I? Do I, don't I? Do it. Because that's what Brandon's saying. You're going to fail faster by doing it. It could be the worst idea ever. Trust me, we've all had them, right, Brandon?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I've had a bad idea last week. You know what? I've had one this morning. I had one 2 weeks ago. I've heard bad ideas. I've heard great ideas and bypassed it. Some of the best ideas that I thought were going to be the best and hottest next thing in the world have been the absolute biggest mistakes that I have 100% made. And I still kick myself in the butt. But you know what? I don't drive out of the rearview mirror. I drive out of the front big, huge screen that you're supposed to look out of. That's what I drive out of. But I only look back in that rearview mirror to learn from experiences and share that stuff with people that I work with, so that when I hear things that they might be going down the same avenue where I made the mistakes, I can share with them my experiences. I don't give them advice, direct advice, but when I listen to them, and listen being the key word here, I let them know what I went through in my life and in my business endeavor. And hopefully they can associate something with their own and pull from that and learn what I'm really trying to hit them over the hammer with and tell them. So
yeah, let's take the sales part one more level. Let's use the caramel popcorn story at Coney Island.
Oh, you want me to share it? So yeah, a lot of people use like they sell popcorn, right? And I know other people have used this too, and you may have heard this before, but you know, people come to me and they're like, I want to sell popcorn or anything. I'll just use that as an example. But I'm like, no, you don't want to sell popcorn. You want to sell popcorn to the 55-year-old man walking down the boardwalk in the month of July on Coney Island. That's how specific you need to get with targeting. That's how specific brands need to get with their targeting. Just don't try to reach the whole world. And I know it's so easy, like even with Google AdWords and stuff, people are like, oh, well, put in cars or put in sports equipment. Like, that's not going to work. You know, you need to be so very specific, like drill down like 5-6 layers and just focus on 10 people. You know, focus on selling 10 cupcakes to one person instead of 10 cupcakes to 10 different people. It's a heck of a lot easier. I hope I said that right.
I think you definitely did. And this ties into what are some of the biggest misconceptions entrepreneurs have about starting a business. And I think you nailed one of them, which is thinking they're going to sell to everybody. Yeah. And there's getting to your niche market, but then there's really getting to your niche market. And everybody watching knows I use Andelicious advice because that helps me filter even more to the kind of folks who would want to work with me. What's the other examples of misconceptions people have when they get started?
Just that they're going to make a lot of money right from the start, that they're going to not work a lot, that they're going to leave their 9-to-5 job, that they're not going to work a lot, and they're going to make more money than what they are at their current job. And that is so far from the truth, because, you know, you end up working 24 hours a day. You have people that are counting on you now, you know, and that is so far from the truth. You know, the other misconception is if you produce it, people are going to buy it. Like, just because you make something doesn't mean that people are going to like it. Like, make one, send it out to 15 different people in different in the market segments that you're going after, and get their honest feedback. Don't send it to your mom or dad because they're going to say, okay, honey, this is the best thing ever. This is great. Send it to me. Send it to another third party. Send it to somebody, and just have them look at it. And you know, like, this is another touchy subject. Is well, someone's going to steal my idea. You know, like that type of thing. And you know what? If you're worried about that, submit a patent. You know, whatever they call it, a provisional patent or something. Write it down on a piece of paper. Send it in. Get a stamp. It costs $75, whatever. Send it in if you're worried about it. From that point, it's safe. You know, if you're that concerned with the idea. But so many people, I have this great idea, but I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to do anything about it. And then they're 60 years old and they're sitting there and see it on TV and they're like, oh, I thought about that 30 years ago. Well, you know, great. You know, it's just, don't let life pass you by. Get up, step up, tie your shoes. Get ready, get your mojo going, and just move closer to your goal every single day. If you have something that you want to do, what have you done so far? It's 1:30 Eastern time right now. What have you done today, right? What have you done today that's moving you closer to your goal? And I'd say 90% of people out there haven't done one thing so far, and it's already halfway through the day to move them closer to the goal. So pick out one thing in the morning to do close to your goal, pick out one thing in the afternoon, and one thing before you tuck yourself in at night, and you'll be 99.99% ahead of everybody else out there in the world.
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point about people stealing your idea. I love competition. You know why? The competition proves that that revenue model works.
100%, yeah.
And so I need to make it so that it works for me because nobody has bought it from me in the way I will give it. And that's what you need to remember as an entrepreneur. You can come up with another widget, but it's going to be your widget. And sure, if you've developed a technology that's just going to blow the planet away, absolutely get onto open legal, get that patent secured. But then again, you want to know that other people are making money. That's a wonderful thing to have competition out there, right, Brandon?
Yeah, 100%. And if there is competition, provide I call it the ultimate client experience, right? And that is provide the utmost of highest of level of service. And I have a few brands that I work with that actually, I'm not going to mention any names, but they provide such a high standard of customer service that they will never buy from anybody else. Now, they might not have a lot of customers per se to these Fortune 500 companies and stuff like that, but the customers they have love them. They tell their friends about them. And in the world, and I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit too, but in the world of social media, if you can have somebody recommend somebody, hello, good night, because it doesn't matter how good the other product is. They are yours forever until you screw that up. Until you mess that up, they are yours.
I love that.
It's powerful, and that's why I get all pumped up.
And then you're moving us right into a very important topic, which is using social media strategically. You and I talked about this, right? Yeah. Before, about how to build those connections. I have very clear ways of doing it. What are some of yours?
Oh man, well, basically I form a lot of connections through content. So one avenue for me is Instagram. I mean, people say like, oh my goodness, Instagram, how do you get any business from Instagram? But I consistently post. I used to be a lot more active on there, and then I used to post once a day. It takes 15 seconds of my life. Actually 15 seconds to shoot the short video. It was all short video. It was all live. It's me. Usually when I'm done going to the gym or something, I would pull off on the side of the road, behind a parking lot, behind a dumpster, duck where nobody could see me, and I record a quick video, just saying like, hey, this is, you got to get up and do it, like inspirational stuff, just that I actually need. And people reach out to me like, I don't know what you do, but I want to work with you. So it shows you the power of like, and we talked about this with the video, the power of video, of reaching out. Like anybody watching this can see like, hey, Brandon's he's a passionate guy, like it doesn't matter what he's selling. What he's selling, I know is going to work because of his enthusiasm, because of his knowledge, because he's not going to let it die, And if it is going to die, he's going to let you know. He's going to be sincere, genuine, empathetic, compassionate, right. All those things of great leaders.
And one thing, folks, that you're witnessing here, whether you're listening or watching about Brandon, is his state of mind. He's using strategic thinking. It's not just positive thinking. It's a strategy to get yourself lifted up and focused in a positive way. Talk more about that.
Yeah, I mean, positive thinking is great. You gotta stay positive, but you have to have a plan, right? Without a planning. Failing to plan is planning to fail. That's tough to say, but yes, failing to plan is planning to fail. Every morning, I have a plan. Before I go to sleep at night, I have a plan. We planned this a couple weeks ago. And not only that, do we plan it, but we talked before that several different times. We talked, we chatted. We just didn't show up here and we're like, hello, this is all going off great. It's like, act like every day you're producing The Lion King. I mean, for your business, and watch the results. Like before your head hits the pillow at night, have that day planned out. Before Sunday, I used to send out a picture, like it's Sunday evening. Do you have your plan ready yet? That was probably one of the most engaging tweets that I got every single week, because I send it out like Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, and everybody's in that mindset. Like all the go-getters are cranked up. They're ready to go. They're not hitting they're not like hitting the bed wondering what they're going to do the next morning. They know their day needs to be planned out. But here we go with you, right? Your day, my day, I'll just talk in my terms, but my day needs to be planned out ahead of time and way in advance of time. And if it goes on my calendar, the number one thing is, if it goes on my calendar, that is a set date. If it doesn't go on my calendar, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. So set those dates, set those time frames, get a calendar, online calendar, whatever you need to use, and use it.
I love that image about producing the Lion King, because that's a clear intention of really showing up big time for your business. Let me just bring in a few comments here. Pierre has a comment here. How can you eliminate subconscious sabotage and limiting beliefs in sales? Wow.
Woo!
That would take a couple of hours to answer.
Oh man, that's tough, man. Can I circle back on that one?
Yes, absolutely. Jump into the Afterglow chat, okay, Pierre?
Yes.
That's a really good question. That would take time.
So I don't have any of these questions ahead of time. So if it's making me think too much, I promise I will come back to it. I will come back.
He'll find you.
Anybody asks on here in full.
Absolutely. And then, of course, one of my favorites, Dave Moore from the UK. The road to success in sales is littered with lots of rest areas along the way. No time limit. My advice, don't pull over.
That's right, Dave. I'm a big UK fan. My wife's from there, man. I love that. UK all the way.
Oh, my gosh. Now, you wrote a wonderful post recently called About the Snowball Effect. And I want you to share with viewers and listeners about that.
Okay, so what I call the snowball effect is when you go outside, some days, and just hear me out for 30 seconds here, and then I'll circle back. You'll know this is how all my kind of stories start, and there will be a moral to it. But when you go outside some days to do a snowball, it just doesn't work sometimes, right? So look at that as like your business plan, as if your initial business service or product plan that you have. Some days you go out there and after you try to mash it together, it just doesn't stick, right? That might be your one business plan. And then other days you walk out there and you kind of get it together and it's just kind of that wet snow and it's like great snowball making. That might be another business plan. And here's the philosophy with that, is that the faster you figure out that you're not going to be able to make a snowball with that, the faster you'll realize what changes you need to make. So if the snowball packs together, i.e. your business plan, if it starts to pack together and you get some momentum going in the beginning and people beyond your family start saying, wow, I want this, or you pick up a little order for, or a service, if you're doing roofs, if you're doing whatever, if you're in technology and you get 10 customers, or you sign up one new customer for a higher end product or service that you have, you realize that you get to start rolling that snowball a little bit, right? And a little bit more catches on, a little bit more catches on, a little bit more catches on. And that's kind of what I call the snowball effect. So if your business plan doesn't have that sticking snow, then maybe look to alter your plan or maybe dump that plan or talk to somebody about it and try to make the changes that need to change. But if your snowball kind of sticks together and it just feels right, go with it. Keep rolling that ball, because once that ball gets momentum, and it's the same way on social media. Once that ball gets momentum, it's unstoppable. It's going to keep going and going and going. As long as you keep nurturing that and keep building that, it's going to keep going. So I hope you can take away kind of like a business plan idea out of that. So
absolutely, because it's so tangible and everybody knows what it's like when you've got, well, those who are in the snow country.
Oh, yeah.
What happens when you do get a good snowmaking condition, snowball conditions, this snow sticks to the ball and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. It's wonderful. You've seen The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. If you've seen that, you know what we're talking about. Oh. That's a wonderful example. Thank you. You also there's so many posts that Brandon writes. You've really got to visit 90dayentrepreneur.com. They're all there for you, and sign up, subscribe, everything so that you get them. They're wonderful. You wrote a great one about launching a product. Talk about that, because things are different today. When launching anything in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, my gosh, for years it was the same type of way of bringing a product to market, especially with social media. What's different now? Well,
I would say just test it and get a prototype of what you have as fast as possible. If it's a physical product, get a prototype and test it out as fast as possible. If it's an actual service, get some beta users and have them test it. Whereas before, we weren't able to have like the reach to put stuff out there right now. But right now we're working with a couple of businesses that are opening up new services in new markets, and we're extending the reach by reaching out to AKA influencers in that market segment, or people that have much experience in that. Like one of them is an engineering product, so we're reaching out to engineers in that department, okay, and not in our own, not like engineers that we have no clue, they don't know who we are, who whatever, but we're just reaching out to them through social media, through LinkedIn, through different means, through different online media, through webinars, through Google Plus Hangouts, through video, by sharing video. You know, today you can do one great thing is explainer videos. Explainer videos can tell, like we can make this whole segment of an explainer video into a 2-minute video, just recap, take all the best points out. Now, I think all the points are great, but just to give an express like version, it's like taking the high-speed train in the UK to France or wherever else. You know, it takes, I don't know, what is it, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is.
So what are you calling these explainer videos?
Explainer videos. So yeah, explainer videos are those little cartoon videos most of the time.
Oh, where they're drawing the...
Those are called the drawing. Explainer videos are more like through a company like Go Animate or Sparkle, I think, does that. There's a couple different companies that do them. I'm privy to Go Animate, but yeah, they do those little cartoon.
Terrific idea.
You see them on TV all the time now. You can make one that looks like yourself. You can, you know, do all kinds of stuff like that, and it just goes over, kind of highlights stuff. Now that I say it, you'll see them all the time, but you'll see them on TV a lot more. A lot of commercials, or have the little video guy, he's a little cartoon character, and they're walking around and going through different screen sets.
And what about webinars? Because folks are, you know, have some luck, some don't. You know, sometimes it's crickets, sometimes it's a good turnout. Does it depend on your business regarding webinars?
Webinars are a great way to expand your reach and educate people that are maybe interested. The webinar effect might not occur immediately, and that's when you log in and you see that you only have 3 people on there. But if those 3 people are targeted and are buyers, I'd rather have 3 people on there than 300. But I know everyone wants to get on a webinar and they want to aim for that 25-person mark, that 50-person mark, that 100-person mark. And I can really care less unless we're working for a large brand and they want that large amount, because you know what the truth is, we can get as many people as we want on a webinar, but most of them won't be paying attention. So it's better we focus on the people, getting the people that want to be there, and we engage with those people and answer every single question in full, and we keep in touch with them in the future with personalized communication, than doing that with 100. And as you get up to more and more sizable things, and even email lists, like we cut out our whole email list and segmented it into under groups of about 350 people per group. So we segmented them out. We've asked questions. What do you like? Who do you like? And when we send out emails, it's specifically to that much smaller segment. Sending out a blanket email to 15,000 people, I can't see us talking in a personal way to 15,000 people. I can see us talking to 350 people, like in a live seminar, saying, hey, we know that you've recently liked this information. What would you like to see more of? Like personalized communication, not just like throwing spaghetti. And we talked about this too, is throwing spaghetti up against the wall. It's a tough way to live your life.
It really is, and getting the focus and getting that feedback. And I've seen quite a few people do these wonderful, quick little surveys about, would you like to do more or see more, or would this be helpful to you, or what do you think about this title? It's a great way to engage. Brandon, what do you like best about your work?
What I like best is just the ability to be able to do it with a clear head, the ability to be able to give back, the ability to feel fulfilled at the end of every day. Because granted, I could be in another position right now, make you know, fairly good money, really above average, really good money. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to feel fulfilled. And I know people are like, you know, and I make good money today, so I know it's tough that people might not in that situation might be like, well, you make money, so it's easy for you to say. But if you, like, I had to get in that mindset of do it for the right reasons. Do it because ultimately it's going to bring you happiness. Ultimately, it's going to bring you money. It might not be next month. It might not be next year. It might not be 2 years. And if I had enough time, I would go in and tell you my whole story. You would be like, oh my goodness, I would never do what you did, sacrifice what you sacrificed to get where you had to go. And a lot of people just aren't willing to do that. Like the turn back point, like that point when people give up. Everybody gets to that point in their life, whether in business, in life, and a lot of times things in business correlate very well with things in life. Like when things are going well in life, when you take care of your family, when you're in a solid relationship, when you're doing the right things, when you surround yourself with people doing great things, it correlates naturally into business. I know people will say, I'm crazy, I can be a crook, I can be a robber, and I can still be successful in business. Yes, you might be for the short run, but in the long term, it's going to eat you up alive, and it's not going to work out. So you might as well get involved with the right people and just focus in on doing the right things.
What do you see? That's such great information. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What do you see on the horizon for you? What's going on along? Because you have other things with 90 Day Entrepreneur.
There is, well, just opened up started a new startup recently, so focusing on that. And I'm focusing on providing the ultimate client experience for anybody that I deal with now. And I'm focusing on I'm focusing on the people that kind of really want to grow relationships and really want to do good in business. Because what I'm finding is there's limited time. Like that one question that came in, there's limited time. There's a lot of people that will pull you over in the rest stop, just like the person who said it earlier. A lot of people that will pull you over in the rest stop and aren't able or aren't willing to do what it takes. And I'm just trying to figure out who's in it to win it. And I know that sounds so cliche and cheesy and whatever, but who's got the guts? Who's got the grit? Who wants this more than anything else in their life? I'm just trying to figure out who they are. And if they're on here listening and you want to work together, great. If you know somebody, send them my way. Send them to Andy. We'll get them hooked up and we'll talk to them.
Brandon, how do they reach you? How do they find you?
Oh my goodness, good question. Well, first of all, 90 Day Entrepreneur's website is absolutely terrible, but I keep it like that. I want it like that because if you look on an iPhone or a Samsung, it reads absolutely perfectly. The most important thing to me was the person on a mobile device reading it. It's not meant for the laptops and stuff. I wanted entrepreneurs on the go, not for it not to be an app. I wanted them to be able to read it crystal clear. So I apologize about that ahead of time. But they can go to Brandon at 90dayentrepreneur.com or just figure out,
and on LinkedIn.
90 Day Entrepreneur. You just read one of the articles. It'll say like contact me, and all the contact forms will ultimately get shuffled to me. You can put a note in there, work with Brandon or whatever. And then
right. And LinkedIn is really great, a wonderful way to reach you. And you'll find that Brandon's very engaging, provided that you're serious. And look this is a wonderful man with tons of experience, ready to help you and your business grow and glow. Amazing work that you provide. I'd like to take a quick minute and do a quick shout out to those who swung by and said, hey, Andy, can't make the show, but I'll be watching on the replay. So that's Margarita and Cheryl and Carmen and Blair and Deborah Oakland and Cherie Valentine. Love you guys. Frank Gainsford, thank you always for sharing the show and really putting it out there for me. Mwah, 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 to all of you. I want to remind folks that on June 2nd, we have a phenomenal show. We've got two amazing goddesses from the world of Facebook. Oh my gosh, what they've done. Anna Pereira and Cherie Elise. They have now started a new business together, the wellnessuniverse.com. Oh my gosh, in a very short period of time, these two women have built an extraordinary community. And that's what we're going to be talking about with them on June 2nd. Any last thoughts, Brandon, before we wrap up?
I would just say my favorite quote. I hope I'm not stealing your punchline. I would say, listen, if you're really interested in starting something, reach out to Andy, reach out to myself, reach out to somebody that you respect, and at least reach out to somebody that you know something about, and just ask them a question. The hardest part of getting help is asking for. Believe me, everything I talk about, I've been there before. It's near and dear to my heart. It's personal to me. I've been exactly where you are. 99% of the time, you're going to ask me a question. I'm going to share a story right back with you that that shows you that I understand where you're coming from. And the biggest part of anything is listen. If you listen, everything that you need will come right there. I guarantee you. Just listen. That's it.
Beautiful, beautiful advice. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much for joining us today. What a dynamic and dynamo guest you are. I'm so grateful to you. Folks who are watching live, I'm going to post the link to the green room. So come on in and have a conversation with us. I know we're all busy. We need to get back to work, but come on in. Let's have a little chat and ask some of the questions that you didn't get to during the comments during the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Those of you who are watching replay live, I am so grateful for your presence, and I really honor the courage that you're using to be an entrepreneur. I'm filled with awe and wonder over you. Looking forward to sharing with you everywhere you glow and I glow, right out there in social media. Thank you again, and wishing you an Andelicious day. Mwah! Bye-bye.
Ryan, woo!